Welcome to the Committee of Precinct Chairs meeting for August 21st, 2025 at 7 o'clock here in the Town Hall Great Hall Meeting Room, 26 Court Street. We have members via Zoom as well as in the room in a hybrid form of meeting. The first thing I'd like to do is do the roll call to establish a quorum, and then we'll get into the pledge and the agenda. So, Precinct 1.
Christine Pratt.
Precinct 2, Matt Tavares. Precinct 3.
Dale Weber, Precinct 3, where it all began.
Precinct 4.
David Peck, pinch hitting for Charlie Vautrin.
That's right. And David is the vice chair. Precinct 5.
Mike Leary, Precinct 5.
Precinct 6.
Roberta Capella, Precinct 6, Vice Chair.
Precinct 7. Precinct 8.
Don Williams, Vice Chair, Precinct 8.
Thank you, Don. Precinct 9.
Precinct 9, Catherine Holmes.
Precinct 10.
Precinct 10, Alan Costello.
Precinct 11.
Precinct 11, Christopher Merrill.
Precinct 12.
Precinct 12, Pat Adelman.
Precinct 13.
Precinct 13, Jennifer Harris.
Vice chair as well, correct? Yes. Yep. Precinct 14.
Precinct 14, Jeanette Kelly.
Precinct 15.
Precinct 15, Wrestling Brewster, where it continues.
Precinct 16.
Precinct 16, Pompey Delafield.
Precinct 17.
Joe Hutchinson.
Precinct 18.
Precinct 18, Carmen Lee Frieri in the middle of it all.
Okay, with 100% representation of all precincts, I'd like to invite us all to the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody back from, we did have a month off in July, so the general public does know that. I hope everybody had a good time. We had wonderful weather in July, unlike what's going on the last couple days. So welcome back. It's time to get back down to business. We do have some important items on the agenda this evening, and then some important items to discuss about how we're going to handle in the next upcoming months to town meeting. The first order of business this evening will be the approval of the minutes from June 12th, 2025. I'd accept a motion and then,
Motion to accept.
Yeah, and seconded. Are there any discussions with changes or anything within the minutes?
Yes, there are a couple of technical issues where on pages 19, 21, and 27, I believe it is, that the printing at the bottom of the page of
On the minutes?
No, on the
We're approving the minutes.
sorry.
Yep, that's fine. Does anyone have any issues on the minutes?
I believe my name was misspelled once under the second. It had Pompey with 2 E's instead of EY.
Okay. Are there any other changes with so spelling of Pompey on one of the pages, yes?
There was a spelling error on Stephen Cole. Plymouth Development Foundation is S-T-E-P-H-E-N, not B-E-N.
Sure, and could you just, for myself and for Kristen, which page might
That would be page 3, about 3/4 of the way down. Member Holmes suggested Stephen Cole.
Yep. Okay, I see that. All right.
Oh, and there was one other one.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm the retired librarian, I'm going to read for, at the bottom of that page, it should be Senator Fernandez, not Hernandez. I'm assuming you're talking about
I'm sorry.
Dylan Fernandez. That's the very last sentence on page 3.
Yep. Yeah, that's in reference to State Senator Dylan Fernandez.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Are there any other corrections? I appreciate this, and I appreciate the grammatical corrections.
Motion to accept with the grammatical errors changed.
Okay. Second?
Second.
By Mr. Delafield. So the motion on the table is to accept with those changes. It's been seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the roll call vote because we are in a hybrid format. Precinct 1.
Accept.
Precinct 2, accept. Precinct 3.
Approve.
Precinct 4.
Abstain.
Precinct 5.
Approved.
Precinct 6.
Abstain.
Precinct 7.
Yes.
Precinct 8.
Accept.
Precinct 9.
Approve.
Precinct 10.
Precinct 10, yes.
Precinct 11.
Precinct 11, approve.
Precinct 12.
Approve.
Precinct 13.
Abstain?
Precinct 14.
Approve.
Precinct 15.
Approve.
Precinct 16.
Approve.
Precinct 17.
Approve.
Precinct 18.
Approved.
Okay, those pass with the changes. Kristen will make those changes, I'm sure, in no due time, and those will be posted to the town website. The next item of business, I'm going to actually add something to this without the objection, unless there's an objection from the COPC, is going to have the town clerk come before us to talk about the town meeting member website update and kind of walk us through that. But then I'd also like to hit on, if she could share with us best practices for hybrid Zoom meetings in light of, I'm sure everybody knows, and has read articles or has heard the scuttlebutt of recent Zoom meetings within town. So Kelly, if you'd like to come up, the floor is yours. Do you need me to stand over there and click through things for you? Or? No. Okay.
If everyone's okay, I'm going to try and do this, not with my back to you, but it might end up being my back to you, so I have to see the computer. So, that being said, you can, and I apologize for my back, but it's the only way I'm going to be able to do it. So, if you look at the homepage, well, first of all, I'd like to say, I would like to thank Jade Adderton in the town manager's office. She was, if you hadn't seen the select board meeting, she was very instrumental in getting us software to manage the 60-plus boards and committees that we have. And if you haven't had a chance to take a look at it, I encourage you to scroll through it. It was a lot of work, and she did a fantastic job. And because we now have this software in place, we have now made 18 committees of town meeting members, 1 through 18. And I'm going to show you how we set this up on the website, and hopefully the public that's watching can understand how they can get in touch with you and how we move forward. So that being said, the homepage, I got to do it here. So as you know, it's the homepage. I always use this secret to get to, if you just hover over government, it brings you right to town meeting. So if you click on town meeting, it gives you this page. If you notice that, this is a little bit outside town meeting member, but we have the draft warrant up for October already. And what we did is we put the key dates of like when it opens, when it closes, when everybody will be reviewing, the last day that they'll execute it, the motions meeting, so on and so forth. So we're going to try and highlight this on this page. So if town meeting members are looking for specific dates, you're not sending me an email, feel free to do that. It's okay, but I'll be honest, I just go to this website and look it up and send it to you. So that being said, and then there's also, if you want to know what's going on in April, I don't know why I keep looking at the screen, you can click on that link and it gives you all that same information for spring. So we're just highlighting what's happening for the fall town meeting at this point. So that being said, then over here, we have town meeting members. So what that does is we set it up, and this I got to give credit to Tyler, the Hazard in my office, has the election coordinator. He, if some of you have run for office and you've done campaign finance forms, we have this set up very similar for campaign finance, and he's like, why don't we do it like that? So then what happens is, and I'm just going to pick on precinct 2. So you just, again, you can click on any of the precincts, and it brings this drop down for you. And then when you scroll within here, all the town meeting members in precinct 2 show up. And it's the term, so if you don't remember, if you're coming up for re-election or something, you can look there. And then secondly, if you click on a name, sorry, Matt, I'm picking on you, up at the top, it has his name, his address, and his phone number. I'm required by charter to print contact information or show contact information. So then, that being said, we are not putting emails on there. We know the internet. We're going to be talking about the internet again in a minute. So, and I know at one point, some people got a false email from the moderator. So to prevent that scamming, we're setting it up like this. But what it also does is, if I go back, is right here, right, contact board members. So what that is that's a web form. I may as well click on it so you guys can see it. It's a web form. So if I wanted to contact everybody in precinct 2, because I have a concern, we will be recommending to the public that they click on that, they type their name, their email, and then they can tape a message. So I will go through tomorrow and do a test on all the precincts. So when you get this email, you know it's coming from the webpage. And it's somebody from the public that is looking to contact you for whatever reason. So at the same time, I do have the list. Actually, the software allows us to pull a list momentarily of all 18 precincts, their names, their addresses, their emails, everything. So it is, if somebody was to ask me for all the emails for all the town meeting members, they don't have to do it 18 times. I can do that, and I always recommend that they do a blind CC in order to avoid any reply all. So, so this, I thought this was I give credit to Beth, because she reached out to me because I kept getting her phone number wrong. I don't know why. I kept fixing it, but it was always wrong. So, so that's what made us look at this again, and this is what we came up with. So I let Beth know, and I CC'd Matt and Kristen, so they knew, and then Matt's like, when can you come in and talk about it? Because I think it's important that you guys are aware that this is out there, and hopefully people can reach out to you. And we're only publishing phone numbers, so you might be getting either a letter or a phone number, and not emails, unless they're replying to all.
No, this is a great feature, and I think also within that email form, when you clicked on, you can use it right there. I think they can also even do attachments. So if there's a particular document that they have on their laptop, or a photo of call it like a street sign issue or something like that, they can send it to you, and then we can use that going forward when we're reaching out to try and solve whatever problem or issue the town has, or the town resident has. It's bringing us forward into a great world. It's also, I love the blind copy issue. We've gone over that ad nauseum in the past to avoid debate. So this is great. Thank you to your staff, and thank you to Jeanette and
Jade and Tyler.
Jade
Did an amazing job, and I got to tell you, when I first met her first or second week here, because all of the participants on all our boards and commissions were, which there's like 500 of them, especially if you count the town meeting members, it was an Excel spreadsheet. And that was a lot to maintain and make sure it was accurate. So getting, thank you to the select board for doing the funding for this and moving this forward. Yeah. But it was a lot of work for her to put everybody in there. And if you don't mind, I'll just do, if you go under government and hit boards and committees, you can, I'll pick on, oh, thank you. I'm so glad you said that, because that is listed here. I meant to bring that up. So it's the same thing that all of you people are on here. You people, that's not a nice way to say that, but everybody is listed there. And it has the same feature that they can email all of you through the web form. So that will also save a little bit.
Could I make a suggestion to this? Is it possible, sorry, Kristen, but to also, when that goes to every COPC member, also go to the COPC admin? Let me know. You can get back to me. You can think about it, but.
Okay. I think, that's a Jade question, in all
Okay.
honesty. Like,
Sure.
they made it look good, but I'll ask Jade that tomorrow
just-
to see if we can add them.
That would
And you
help.
know what, and we probably can, thinking out loud, is we can probably add that position on her staff support.
Right.
So her email would be on there.
That would be great.
And she is on here, I believe. Oh, no, we don't have you listed as staff support yet, Kristen, so we'll take care of that.
Kristen, sorry, I just made your world infinitely harder. Okay. No, but that's fantastic.
Any questions on that?
I was gonna say, are there any questions or comments? I see a couple of hands up. I'm gonna go with Mr. Leary and then Mr. Brewster.
Yeah, I was on the website and saw this, so I thought it was great. The only thing I have, a question for you, Kelly, is, so when we get the email from the public, is it somehow designated that it came through the town? In other words, do we even have a logo, something? Because a lot of times, like, you get these emails that you know are spam, that somebody, open this up, if you click it, you're in trouble.
Correct.
So is there something that comes up that identifies it?
So what I will do is I will do 2 emails to everyone, either tomorrow, it's only a short day tomorrow, or Monday. I will do an email through the test, and I'll put, this is Kelly, this is what the email will look like, this is gonna be the address it's coming from. Then I will email all of you, blind CC in each precinct, with a picture of what that email looks like. So that way, not only will you get it in your regular email, but you'll get a picture, you'll get the email itself, and you'll get a picture of what it looks like, so you'll know who it's coming from, and that it's coming through this web form. The software is called Onboard, so I have a feeling it says something like Onboard. It does? Okay. Oh, Beth already tested it. Okay.
Mr. Brewster.
This is awesome. This is so what we need. I'm only, so during election time, this will be updated and on real time?
Yes.
Like the next day, et cetera?
Well, it takes us about 3 days to count all the
Yeah, I know.
all the write-ins and
Right,
the hand count.
right,
So
but-
normally within a week, I think that we
Did-
had this software up and running. We had this software up and running around the time of this last election.
Yeah.
And especially with Jade's help, we got it updated. As
Right.
we were finalizing the results for each precinct, she was updating it. And since then, the election coordinator, Tyler, has learned, and Alvera knows, and I know, they know more, but I know a lot. So between the 4 of us, we'll be able to get this updated.
Awesome. As a living document, that's
Oh, yeah.
extremely important, and especially for chairs.
Because you'll see that when the date of the election, we put in the election date of when everybody's up. Like, we
Yeah.
looked ahead for
Yeah.
the 3rd Saturday of that year, and it will show up expired. So and if you win the seat again, it's just a couple of clicks and you're there. If it's a new person, those are the ones that might take us a little bit to add in.
Thank you so much. This is awesome.
Thanks.
Ms. Adelman? Ms. Adelman?
Okay, so if you go to, so there's a couple different ways to do it. You can always search it, but if you go to boards and committees, which you can find under government, so if you hover over government, or boards and committees, like right there, yep. And then everything is listed alphabetically, so you make your way down to committee of precinct chairs. Too bad for the zoning board, they're at the end. And then once you click on it, you can just scroll down. And then at some point, you need to scroll down, and then you need to take over this window to see more. Yep, it's right at the top, so right when you click it, So there's two windows, just so everybody's aware, if you want to look at the screen, there's two windows, because this is an embedded, because we're pulling the information from another website, so it's embedded into our website. So when you go into these, you're probably better off taking the town website and putting it in the middle, and then that gives you more of the ability to see more of this. But it's always, as I say that, it's always right at the top. Committee of Precinct Chairs. Right there. And, yeah, and that's the same location for every, and you'll notice that it's only the elected boards that have that email everyone. It's not the other boards, because we feel like elected officials should be reachable by the public.
100%. Are there any other questions or comments? Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Peck.
How will we let the general public know about this upgrade? This is terrific. Will it go in like Casey Kennedy's quarterly newsletter? And there's other ways, but this is a terrific tool.
Yep, I know
And
Jade.
just want to make sure the word gets spread.
Right. I know Jade presented it at a select board meeting, and not all that information filters, but that's a very good suggestion. We will reach out to Casey Kennedy and let them know that this is now up and running. We just kind of really tweaked it. This last page of all the boards and committees, it used to say A through G or A through M and J through whatever. We ended up cleaning that up a little bit, so it's easier to, I think it's easier to navigate, and if it's not, please let me know. But yeah, something on social media might be worthwhile.
Any other questions or comments before we move on to your second piece? Oh, Mr. Costello.
Oh, I thought you were done. I apologize. Very, very good system. I really like it. I think it's going to be beneficial. But during my legislative oversight or a new business, I was going to suggest, Mr. Chairman, that we revisit. It's not an idea I've had, but it's an idea that's been around, because I think town meeting members of committees are starting to really do quite a bit of work, quite a bit of important work for the town. And I'd like to revisit the procedure to have a room or an area in town hall where we can call our own as town meeting members, where we can keep a lot of this information ourselves and have a central point of operation, because there's quite a few people in the audience out watching us, ourselves, town meeting members, doing a lot of work. It's really becoming professional. It's really becoming sort of a neat thing. And now I think we need a base of operations. I wonder if we could at least put that on as a future agenda item. And really, I know it's been talked about in the past. It's never been followed through. But I think now, more than ever, we need a place where we can land with all of our data and paperwork. Even if this does not come from legislative, I'm not speaking for legislative oversight, but the information that we've now uncovered and the data that we have compiled, we need a central location to, people want to come in and talk about it, people want to come in and debate about it, learn about it. I think it's a little bit overdue that we have a space that we can do that. Thank you.
Sure. That's something I can definitely bring up, because I think we need to expand upon that, figure out what information either needs to be there or what the access is. And I mean, it's, again, you hit on high level pieces. I'm definitely can put that on as
Just something to explore, see if it's even an option.
Right.
I think
Correct.
we're ready for it.
I know space is hard to come by lately, and trying to come up with even just our meetings for the next 2 months. So I understand that, but I also understand what you're asking for. I've sat here before and heard what you've spoken about, brought up before. So that's something I can maybe kind of get the ball rolling in the background, but then I think it would be incumbent upon us as to what needs to be in there, what, X, Y, Z.
Sure.
The details, if you will. Okay.
I appreciate just starting the conversation, see if it's even viable. Thank you.
Sure. All right. That being said, are there any other discussion points within this contact information topic, I guess? Seeing none, Kelly, the floor is still yours.
Okay, so I moved
I think we all know, just to give a little introduction to this, I think we've all, not all, but most people have heard of different Zoom meeting situations that have happened in these hybrid formats. Particularly it happened early coming out of COVID, but it seems to be becoming popular again. We've had a few meetings on different committees, some precinct caucus meetings. So, everyone's been kind of getting in touch with each other, and the town is working, on something, but I'm putting Kelly a little bit on the spot because there's a lot of people involved within the different floors of this building working on this. But Kelly was kind enough to offer up kind of a little bit of an explanation of where we're at call it, on August 21st. This could change in another day or whatever. So thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. I figured I'd come over here so I could face you and not have my back to you. So that being said, yeah, Zoom bombing, I think last week, the hackers were definitely out there, and they were scrolling through the town of Plymouth, and I definitely heard from 3 or 4 different committees that they got hacked. I do know that when an incident happened in March, IT took some measures for some protection. I'm speaking for myself here personally as a town clerk. I feel hybrid meetings are important. The state feels like it's important because they keep extending the deadline. Hybrid meetings are still authorized through, I believe it's July of 2027. So they're here, to a certain degree, they're here to stay. And unfortunately, it's the open meeting law in allowing the public to attend and speak when recognized against IT and security, and the internet being what the internet is. So we recently met, and just so you're aware, we have some committees that do not do hybrid meetings whatsoever. They're all in person. We have some committees that, such as yourselves, that meet in person, have a place, and also have a link for hybrid. And then we also have committees like the Agricultural Commission that just meet virtually. So we have all 3 different kinds that we're trying to manage. So having a discussion with the IT, we came up with some Zoom offers what they consider to be host controls to help limit who can access a meeting. And it would be up to the chair, and part of the reason why we thought it was a good time for me to present this is you guys, I keep saying you guys, the chairs are about to have meetings for the fall town meeting, and I think most of you like to have a link on there for anyone to participate remotely. So what we're asking to do, we have detailed instructions that go out that says when you start the meeting, hit this button, then hit that button, then hit this button, then hit. Go ahead, Matt.
And we did just receive that this morning. So I'm going to have Kristen tomorrow, since we are setting up caucus meetings, send that out to everybody. I just hadn't not read through it, so I apologize for not getting it out to you today, but I didn't want to send something to you guys without looking through it first. So, yep, go ahead.
So that being said, I'm not going to go through it, but it's very well detailed, angled, I think Matt will agree that it's all there. So that being said, to Matt's point, I had 2, as you know, all postings come through me, and you all get an email back saying meeting's been posted. I usually do it hopefully within 24 hours. Sometimes it's the next hour, usually within 24 hours. That being said, I've now set up a signature on my email that when Kristen posts a meeting, she gets an email back that says the meeting's been posted. Oh, and by the way, because we're getting Zoom bomb lately, attach are the instructions that you should do that it's, if you have a link. I'm only sending it to the committees that have a link on their agenda. I'm not sending it to the committees that are not in person. So that are just in person. So people are gonna get tired of seeing this, but it's gonna be a reminder to everyone that you need to, one of the biggest things with this at this point is the host control allows the host to not let participants unmute themselves. In other words, if Pompey wanted to talk and he was online, he would have to raise his virtual hand, and the host will then have to go in and allow him to unmute himself. So if you don't know who you're unmuting, you gotta have your your finger on the button, that if it's not what appropriate, you can kick them out. So the instructions, the email says pretty much make sure when you need to do these host controls, then begin to admit the people that are waiting to be admitted to the meeting. And then at that point, you need to make the announcement that if somebody needs to speak, they need to raise their hand so they can be unmuted, they can speak, and then you can mute them back up. So I'll be honest, I wasn't thinking, I thought this was a PAC TV meeting, not a local scene meeting, not a hybrid meeting, so we might need to work on it, because you always have people that are hybrid, and having to have the host unmute them might be a little bit more complicated, but that's something that we'll do in the future.
Yeah, and I would suggest to other committee members that are doing a hybrid like we're doing at this moment through the local scene, that they speak to the local scene as I have. I'm sure David and I talk frequently in regards to our meetings, and we did have something going on this evening, so that the same system that you just explained has been put into place this evening. So any chairs that are online this evening, which they've all been doing in the past, they know to use the hand raise feature, but that is how we're doing it this evening. And that's why if those in the room look at the screen up there, you'll see they're on mute right now. So if they do need to speak, they can use their hand. Unless you have anything else to add,
Nope,
I'm going to
just-
ask for questions or comments.
Go right ahead.
Sure, I'm going to go with, I saw Mr. Costello's hand first, and then I saw your hand, Mr. Weber, if that's okay.
Just quickly, and maybe I missed it, what's the protocol for the camera? I mean, it sounds like you have some safeguards for mute, but what about the camera aspect?
Not only are you, they can't share their screen, and so that means if they can't share their screen, then they can't do the video. Like, we're turning off video, in other words, the only people that can allow a participant to talk or show their screen is the host.
So if I was having a meeting, like on the board right now, we'd have the four names, no camera,
Correct.
because the mute takes care of the camera at the same time. If they want to come in, we unmute them, that allows them to use both the camera and their microphone?
It might. I'm not absolutely positive on that, but again, the camera is where you get the graphic images, so you're better off, like, I think at this point, we don't necessarily need to see someone, we can hear them, we don't necessarily.
I guess that was my
need to see them.
point.
Yeah.
So going forward, it just might be voice, and there's nothing
Exactly.
wrong with that, because that takes care of
And
the
it's-
open meeting, right?
The other
Yeah.
big piece to this is the sharing of a screen. That's when they can.
So if you have a presentation, that's where you might
It would
run
be
into
like
some
if-
hot water, right?
When we've had Mr. Campbell, or Dr. Campbell in the past, share his screen to roll through a presentation, in that case, I'd have to, if I was the host, have to say, Dr. Campbell, you're now, and I can single him out as being the one that can allow a shared screen.
All right, as long as there's
Yeah.
something in place.
Oh, yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
And that's in what Kelly was talking about. But if there are any other further questions, I think, can direct them to whoever, but I'm more than happy to help facilitate with working with RRT, Joe Young. I'm more than happy to help facilitate that. Mr. Weber.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm confused, as I don't understand, I'm sure IT people know tons more about this subject than I do, but I want to try to understand it. So what I'm questioning is, like Mr. Costello said, we're looking at four names on the screen right now. Are we being told that if someone wanted to hack into this meeting, they would have to come in through one of those four names? And if not, then how could we, by not allowing those people to speak until we allow them to speak, are you saying a hacker can't possibly get access into this meeting in other manners, other than just to go through the people that are being controlled by?
No.
By the-
that's not
by the
what's-
host.
That's not what's being said at all, because anyone could come in, and you could see something up here, say someone zoomed in via their phone. A lot of times, when I've seen that, even in my own personal work, it comes up as the phone number, and not necessarily a person's name.
Right.
You would have to let them in, but they would be muted, XYZ, unable to share screens. You would have to let them in, because otherwise you'd be violating open meeting law by singling out somebody, because I know you know a lot of people in Plymouth, but I don't know all 70,000 residents, you know, so.
What I'm saying is, I
yeah,
watched the
so-
school committee hacking that went on, and I've seen 2 or 3 others since COVID, and I'm not sure that, I thought the school department had controls in there, because I attended their Zoom meeting that got hacked, and I had to ask permission to enter into the Zoom call.
Right, that's the waiting room feature.
Right.
And that's also what Kelly was speaking to, is you can have a waiting room, but you need to be able to, so say we had, I'm sorry to pick on you, Joe, but say Joe came to our meeting 10 minutes late via Zoom. You would need, as the host, to be paying attention to that waiting room to see that he's coming into the Zoom and to allow him in. But
So are you saying to me that the school department
I can't speak for the
program-
school compartment, because that's a
All right, let's
completely
say the
different
town-
IT
let's say
department than the town.
Because the town was hacked also.
Sure.
The same hack, by the way.
Yep.
And what I'm saying is, are you saying to me tonight that the town and/or the school let that person come into the meeting?
I can only speak to, I am not gonna, definitely not gonna speak to the town and what happened in the past, because I'm not there. I don't know what the IT protocols were before there. And I don't think anyone in this room is qualified to speak about that. That would be a question for the town manager, the IT director for the town, and also the IT director for the school. But what I will tell you is that what came out this morning in that document that Kelly was just holding up talks about a virtual waiting room. Whether that was enacted before these happened,
Right.
no one in this room could answer that question for you right now.
So Dale, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
I'm in IT, so I can speak a little bit more to it. In the past, there's a button that you click that says, allow anybody into the waiting room that has access to this meeting. So when the hackers, as a public meeting, we send out that link through a website. So anybody can hack into that website, find that link, get into that link. So in the past, there was a button that was clicked that says, allow anybody. This puts a lot more on to the host, because in the past, when we've had meetings, we say, yeah, just let anybody in, because I've started my meeting and I don't want to sit there and click, yeah, allow them in, yeah, allow them in, yeah, allow them in. Now you have to do that. Once they get in, what we want to stop is, once they're in, they're sitting in the waiting room, you need to say, hey, I'd like to speak. And the chair, the precinct chair knows everybody who's in every precinct. That's why we take the roll call. So you, as a chair of a precinct, should know everybody in your precinct. And when you get to public comment, if you allow this person to speak, then you have the ability to say, oh, you're hacking in, stop. It's all about managing who gets in, because I assume that they have stopped that allow everybody into the lobby. And since you don't allow everybody into the lobby, you have to say, yes, I allow this person in the lobby.
So by not allowing certain people or anybody generically into the lobby, you are confident that you are preventing hacks?
Never.
I mean,
Never.
Well, that's what,
Never get 100% guarantee, because
So here's
somebody
my-
will figure out a different trick tomorrow.
all right, so those were my questions.
Yeah.
Here's my solution.
Go ahead, Mr. Weber. I think I know where
I
this is
peeled
going.
this off the wall in my office. And this was a gift from the school committee. They pass these out every year. Be present be present at the meeting. No Zoom, no hack. That's my solution. That's my solution. COVID was a wonderful time for us all to enjoy attending meetings in our pajamas or whatever else we were deciding to do, but that's over. And like I say, I'm sure there's people that have medical reasons not to attend, and we've done this at town meeting. We still have those people have a coach to let them know how to operate the thing. But in the meantime, be present and be here, and no need for a Zoom. So that eliminates the problem, where otherwise I think we're dancing around the edges and giving some people that have a lot more knowledge of technology than us to make us look kind of crazy. So anyway, my opinion. Thank you.
That was a marathon to get to that poster, but I appreciate it. All right. Oh, no, but I do appreciate it. I do appreciate the sentiment, and I hear you, Mr. Weber. Thank you very much. Ms. Gregg, did you have something?
Thank you. As new precinct chair, my first caucus last week was Zoom bombed. And I must say it was traumatic, and I feel your pain. I know that the technology can be a little bit daunting. So what we learned last Thursday was that it was very helpful to have somebody in the room who was familiar with the Zoom technology to actually manage the Zoom while I was facilitating the meeting. Because otherwise, as the chair, you've got a lot of different things to think about, and somebody else is admitting or not admitting, allowing people to speak or not to speak. And it was just really helpful to have that person there. So for my next caucus, or our precinct's next caucus, I'm going to ask that person to be my tech person.
Thank you, and I'm sorry that that did happen. Mr. Costello.
Just quickly to finish off, what is the liability to a chair, and what's the protocol by the town if it does happen? I mean, supposed to shut down the meeting?
Yes, the recommendation is to shut down the meeting. I do know that some of the meetings that did get hacked, and unfortunately, we got centered, like we got focused on us, which is why I think every night that something was happening. But the protocol is to shut the meeting down right away. I was in a meeting that we waited about 5 minutes, didn't discuss anything, and then we did the Zoom, we reopened it, and the two remote participants were able to jump right back in, and we continued the meeting. So, but again, with these protocols that we're asking, anyone that is having a hybrid or a Zoom meeting, hopefully that can be better controlled. But for at least the next 6 months, and then see what happens after the hackers figure that out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we've made it 46 minutes, so keep your fingers crossed. Are there any further questions or comments from the committee or online? Seeing none, thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. I know you were that was kind of a last piece there, so I appreciate you speaking to it. Next, I'd like to welcome back Pompey from Japan. As we all know, Pompey was the COPC delegate to our sister city, Shikigahama. He just got back, last week? Yeah, only a few days ago, really, it probably feels like, with the time change. So I just asked him if he could give us a little bit of an update, since he was our delegate. I feel like we should hear from our delegate as to what the experience was like, what happened, some insight, and then allow us just to have any questions for him that we might have. But Pompey, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, and thank you all for allowing me to go. What a privilege to represent our body, and what a wonderful experience. And really, I want to stress that it was a wonderful experience and well worthwhile. First of all, as you probably know, there were 10 students that went over. It was a great experience for them. They got hosted by families over there, and that was a great experience for them. So it's something that we could offer kids here. Secondly, we, as the delegation of officials, were able to experience such things as the problems they had from the tsunami and how they fixed that up. And yeah, we could have a disaster here. And so to learn how they coped with that and what they went through, well worthwhile. We went to the fire department because, of course, we had our fire chief there, and we learned what their fire department was all about. We went to the schools. We went to government operations. So we experienced a lot, and that's only some of them. I'm not going to drag you through all of them. We were going, Kelly was one of my travel mates. Wonderful. We had such a good time together, and if I say anything wrong, I'll let you know, and, you can catch me up on it. But, just a wonderful experience for all of us. And did we have fun? Yes, we had a hell of a good time on top of it. And I don't begrudge anyone that, but the salary that our head of the select board gets, the fact that he had a good time in a trip to Japan, I don't begrudge him that. But one of the things I wanted to stress was Shishigahama takes this sister city seriously. There's a lot we could learn from that. There's a lot that this town could do to go back, but you go over there, their major cultural center, which we were at a lot, has a big emblem of Plymouth, Massachusetts. It has a replica of the fort outside of it. It has flags flying with the Massachusetts Plymouth seal on it. They take this seriously. They have a peace pole in Wampanoag, English, and Japanese, from our sister city in Plymouth, Massachusetts. So they take it seriously and they use it for marketing. There's an idea. Things like this come out of a trip like this. On top of that, we had a wonderful crew. I'm sure that Kelly will agree with me. I had a chance to know some of our governmental officials, people, in a way that I never would have in any other way. If nothing else, that allows me to go to Kelly sometime and say, Kelly, I know you. I can talk to you. That's a valuable thing, and that was going through everybody. No matter who we were learning what the departments are and what they did and how we can talk to them. So there, just, wow. Did we have fun? Yeah, we had fun. We even got to a professional baseball game over there, which was paid for, by the way, by the town of Shishigahama, not us. They took us out to a ball game, and we had a hell of a good time. But again, I want to stress we were going for 8 hours every day, and we were going, and most of it was vitally interesting to all of us. We went to a museum. You say, well, why do you go to a museum? Well, I'm on the board of Plymouth Hall here, and why not bring back some good ideas about a different type of museum? So I just wanted to say very briefly that this is a full experience. It is something that this town should be proud of. This town needs to take better advantage. It's been going on since 1990, I believe, 35 years. And next year they'll come over here, and boy, if we do half for them what they did for us, it will be lovely. And why don't we get a Japanese tree over here and plant it someplace and mark it as a sisterhood city? There's so much that we could do, and let's use it for marketing and let's continue it. I just think it's wonderful. Kelly, do you have anything to add to that?
Kelly?
I know the chair said that he wanted your representative to talk about it, but I will just say this. I want to be Pompey when I grow up because he was wonderful on that trip. He was friendly with everyone. I learned a lot from him. And when he talks about that museum, he was taking more pictures of the lights and the air conditioning and everything else to bring back to help the Pilgrim Museum. So you had a fantastic representative, and it was an honor for me to attend with him. And everything he said about the trip is absolutely correct.
Yeah, let me say that's the other thing. I had the privilege of representing the elder generation. I think there wasn't a person there who couldn't have been my son and daughter. So that was a privilege to me, and I appreciate it. I had to tell them every once in a while, no, I can really carry my own bag. I'm not that old, you know. But it was wonderful. Thank you.
Well, I hope you also, with Memorial Hall being in the news recently, I hope you take some of those things regarding museums and lighting to any meetings that come out of that
Will
study.
do.
Are there any questions for Pompey? I know he's, a lot of long days. I have known several people that have gone on this trip. I know it's sun up to sundown some days, and even longer. So I know the travel to get over there is a job in and of itself. So thank you for representing us. I look forward to hearing when the school students speak about this in the future. I know that on both sides, in the United States and in Japan, in Plymouth and in Shikigahama, that when this exchange happens, and I have spoken to enough people on either side, those people that are involved and go to these events come out of it with kind of what Pompey was hinting towards, which is, oh my goodness, Plymouth actually doesn't do enough. That the sister bond over there in Japan and what they use for tourism and promotion, like Pompey said, there is literally a replica of the Ford House that's up at Plymouth Patuxent in their town. It is a marketing tool. It is something like that. And I think the more people that get exposed to that for different ideas for travel and tourism, the different ideas about, they have a very blue economy over there, that gets stressed by the Japanese delegation over there while our delegates are over there. But I did attend a few events the prior summer with the Japanese delegation. What they do with their blue economy is absolutely fascinating, and it can be brought to our things like our blue economy conference that we have down on each year. The ideas and exchange of knowledge, the reason why they're a sister city is because it's very similar to our landscape, our economy here. It's very close. That's why it's a sister city relationship. And we can learn from each other, and that's what we should be doing, as sisters would learn from each other, or brothers would learn from each other. I think that's the important piece to take away from this. If there's anything else, Pompey.
Can I just say one other thing, and that is I'd love the opportunity. I was unable for a glitch to show any pictures. I would love an opportunity maybe to come back with just a few, because image is worth 1,000 words in this case. I think we'd all learn just by seeing some of these things, and I apologize. I blew it today and ruined my presentation visually, but I'd love to come back.
That's okay. I think we could slate that in for November when we talk about post-town meeting and all that stuff. So we'd probably all like to just look at pictures. Any other comments? Mr. Peck?
Just curious, how large was the town delegation, and how many other parents and adults went along as chaperones or whatever? Just curious.
I think there were 7 of us, if I remember, 8 of us, okay. We had the fire chief, we had Kevin Canty, we had Kelly, Becky DeRocha from the school, we have James Downey from the highway department, we had Steve Bulletin, we had Kathy Thompson, I'm missing one.
Yourself.
And myself. God, I'm always leaving myself out. Okay. And then we had 2 chaperones and 10 kids.
And the chaperones would be considered like the school delegation.
By the way, a couple of people paid their own way over there, so that not all of that came out of the town, and I believe the kids do some of that, and a couple of the town delegates also paid for themselves.
Okay. Mr. Costello.
Just quickly before we move on, do we have an official sister city relationship with Plymouth, England, or was
Yeah.
that just for 400? We do actually have that?
And we also have one with Holland, but I'm not.
Do we maintain that?
I don't remember them all off the top of my head.
Do we
so I don't-
maintain that as equally as we do with Japan?
No, I think that, I think that there is exchanges there, especially with Plymouth. A lot of that is more based upon the students, like it's more student-based with Plymouth, England. There's a lot of exchanges, particularly with singing groups. And we send students over there, and they send students over here. They actually, Plymouth, England, learned about a cappella groups through the Plymouth North and Plymouth South Music Association, and they didn't have something like that over there. It's huge now in Plymouth, England, and that was learned through an exchange program here. But there are school committee members and stuff that go back and forth regarding that.
Is that yearly, or is that just sporadic?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I know that they were over here, my years are probably blending together, 2 years ago, and I know we sent a whole choir, including middle school students and high school students over there. I think it was last year.
All right, very good. I just wanted to know.
Or it might even been, and when I say last year, I mean like last school season, so it might have been in the spring, or winter, I can't remember off the top of my head.
All right, excellent, thank you.
But I also think that if anyone sees a sister city relationship, and you can also take a walk up on the, down our halls here and see all our sister cities. There are gifts that have been exchanged between the two sister city, or, between each sister city. If there's one that you would like to see bolstered or a little bit more, I'm sure the DVC would be welcome to listening. Those are public meetings that anyone can attend as well. Anything else? Not seeing any. I'm going to go right back to you, Mr. Costello, with the Legislative Oversight Committee update, please. Thank you, Kelly. Have a good evening. Oh, going to
I'll use this podium if it helps. Thank you very much, Alan Costello, Precinct 10, but I'm also the chair of the Legislative Oversight Committee, a subcommittee of this group for any of the new members that are here tonight. It's been put together for approximately 2 years, and in the last 6 months, we've done a monthly update through the Committee of Precinct Chairs. So I'd like to catch up the group, let you know where we are today. We've had, since our last Committee of Precinct Chairs meeting, the Legislative Oversight Committee has met twice. Met in June, and then it met earlier this week, Tuesday evening, the 19th. And in those two meetings, we were very lucky to have the administrative assistant really start to put a bunch of data in front of us. She did this by, and she's here this evening, and I'm sure she'll speak to bail me out a few times. So there's a ton of data here, and I've tried to remember a lot of it. I think the group will be impressed with the information that we have. Both good, there's actually a lot of good that can be reported, and some stuff that needs some attention. But what her mode of operation was she brought in department heads throughout the town and got assessments as to some of the town meeting articles that they've had passed over the last 5 years. I think our intent was to go back 5 years, 2020, but she's actually gone further back, which is, again, both exciting and not so good. But at the end of the day, she made these assessments, talked to the department heads, and reported back to us. Now, at the end of the first meeting in June, she had about 3/4 of the assessments completed. And there was already a savings or amount of money kicked back. I believe it was $1.3 million for projects that, once reviewed, now we're finding they were completed and money has been sitting idle. They were not completed and money was about to be turned back. So there's a dollar value that's sort of exciting, $1 million plus. But that wasn't even the best thing. The sort of the neat thing that came out of it were two things that stuck with me and some of the members of the Legislative Oversight Committee. and something I hadn't even considered, maybe you haven't either, but over the years, as a town meeting article winds its way through the process of being approved and then getting into the queue with town management, time goes by. And sometimes people change, department heads change. So there were a few instances, exciting, that some department heads were not even aware that they had monies and approved projects out there. And it had just gone by the wayside. No one's fault. The Legislative Oversight Committee wasn't in place to sort of remind people and bring this up. And in going forward, I think that's going to be one of the biggest benefits. There was even one story, and maybe, I hope I don't butcher this, and Kristen can correct me if I'm wrong, but there was actually one department head that was working on a town article for the fall to finish a project that had neared completion, but they needed $28,000-$30,000 for, I believe it was landscaping. And they were putting together the article, trying to look out for grants, matching grants of the town. Come to find out, during her assessment meeting, we approved that years ago. Money was sitting there to let her, I believe it was her, I don't want to misspeak, finish a town project that was, someone was working on it, but it was new to her. She didn't know the money was sitting there. Town meeting had done its job years ago, and now, lo and behold, the money's spent, the project's finished, and I think that's a plus for the Legislative Oversight Committee, and to this committee for putting the Legislative Oversight Committee together. So when we met Tuesday night of this week, the assistant was unable to meet with us, but she had given us a host of data to talk about at our meeting. And later on, in a few minutes, I'll ask this committee what it would like to do and how it would like to present and put this information out. But to her credit, the administrative assistant has now completed a spreadsheet for all 157 articles that we had put together. And it's pretty comprehensive. And we'll get this, I'm assuming people may want this, and we'll get this out now that it's been approved. But there's 3 pages here and a 4th page that is specific to CPC articles. And I know this is not going to be able to be read, but just, you'll see the yellow highlight. More than half of these projects, the yellow represents money being returned back to whatever the funding source was. Now, it doesn't always be the general fund, but whatever CPC account. And then the other 3 pages, which make up the 157 articles, again, I would say well, maybe not the vast majority, but half of the articles highlighted in yellow, all of the articles in yellow, I'm sorry, half of them on the page, that's representing money kicked back to the town. Project was complete, there was money left over, or the project didn't go forward, the money was lingering, it's now, I'm not sure it's in there yet, but it's due to go back into the different accounts. So I think that a place where we've been trying to get to for a few years, we've reached that spot. And now we're at sort of a crossroads with our committee and need assistance from this committee, or at least direction from this committee, what it would like to do now that there's some hard data. And this is actually what prompted me earlier to talk about a central location. Town meeting members, I believe, and I know this is not my idea, it was talked about over the years, we need a place to warehouse all this information so we can stay on top of it. Let other town meeting members that come in new, bring them up to speed, or tell them where they can go and find this, because now that we've uncovered a lot of this, shame on us if we don't do anything with it. So some of the things that came to mind were as a Legislative Oversight Committee, we could take a department next month, say, and bring in that department head and talk about the 8, 10, 12 town meeting articles that are on this spreadsheet and get updates, in-person updates. If that's the feeling of this committee, if that's what they want, or if they just like seeing the dollar values, and we know it, we can open up a web page, which is our next meeting is going to deal solely on taking your direction, if it's to get this information on the web page for town meeting members and residents alike to find. That's the next step, I would believe, but we'll find out what this committee wants it to do. But we're in a position pretty soon to do that, have this on the website for everyone to see. So that was, I think, one of the biggest things that came out of the last 2 meetings that we had prior to this evening. A couple other things that came up that I think worth speaking about and should be talked about is I got a phone call today from a select board member, Mr. Cohen, and during a recent meeting they had where they were talking about 2026 goals, the Legislative Oversight Committee came up as a topic. And they feel, they still have to vote on these things, but they feel it's important. And they want to foster it as best they can. So they have appointed, or due to appoint, and Bill can correct me if I'm wrong, a liaison. And it's sort of going to be an easy transition because Mr. Cohen will be the liaison, and he was a member of the committee, Legislative Oversight Committee, prior to his winning the election, so we had to move on to bigger and better things. But it'll be very beneficial to have him come back and be a representative from the select board to assist us in making sure this information is correct, it's acted on, and it becomes usable. The other thing we've elected to do at our last meeting, and this comes from Mr. Malaguti, Everett Malaguti. He's a member of Advisory and Finance. And we felt that what we were running up against is some big numbers, some numbers that really mean something here. And we think the Legislative Oversight Committee and their findings would be beneficial for the Advisory and Finance to know where we are with some articles that they passed years ago, or they might pass in the future. There'll be a component of oversight on money that they're allocating out. So I think that's going to be, if this committee wants that to happen, or feels that there should be partnerships with Advisory and Finance and Select Board, I personally think it's the way to go, but we should just talk about it as a committee. I think it would be beneficial to talk about those things in an upcoming meeting. The last thing I'll touch on before questions is membership of the committee. The Legislative Oversight Committee today has, I believe, 7 members. We've lost a few have come back, but I think it's incumbent on this committee to decide what the protocol is for restocking the committee if they feel it needs to be. I do, but I'll take the direction from this committee. If we have an open casting call, or if it comes from town meeting members, it comes from at large, but whatever this committee would like, I think we should talk about it and talk about restocking the committee now that we really have some teeth. There's not a great deal of day-to-day work because Kristen has done a lot of the heavy lifting. The stuff is in front of us now. We just got to make sure every future town meeting stuff gets inserted right away, doesn't get forgotten about, and I think will be beneficial. The one thing I did as an exercise as well is with the Memorial Hall issue being sort of front and center lately, I had an interest as a resident, as a town meeting member, and as a member of Legislative Oversight. What articles in the past we've allocated or approved for Memorial Hall? And this was probably about the only somewhat negative thing, is there's a host of articles in there going back to 2016 that may or may not, I'm not an engineer, may or may not have headed off some of the deterioration that's happened or being talked about in that building today. 2016, we allocated money for brickwork, waterproofing, and structural masonry work, which is what I've been reading in the newspaper, is sort of detrimental to that building today. And a lot like some other projects that have happened in this town is, although the money was allocated, the jobs were never done. So here we are 9 years later, and we're talking about a crisis of a building, replacing a building. So again, and I don't say that to be blaming anyone, but I see that as the best thing that could come out of this committee, is it shouldn't happen again. There'd be a lot of eyes on it from here on in. And these kind of things should not go under the radar going forward. So I think that's going to be beneficial. And with that, I'll take questions, or unless, Krista, do you have anything to add? Oh, you might have to come to the
Actually,
microphone.
you'd need to come up, Kristen. Okay, all right.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I should have asked you, if she can supplement some of the things I said?
She can, if she chooses to do so. She just needs to come to the podium, because otherwise the public at home can't hear her.
No, I appreciate that, you're right. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Hi, Kristen Ford here, coordinator for COPC and CPC. So I think the only thing that I would add was the open articles that haven't been closed or money hasn't been returned. We do have details on every single one. So I think that's probably what we need to roll forward, so that you have each category. And I had some suggestions that we talked about, maybe taking some sort of an order from all of you, whether it's like DPW, kind of bulk all those things together. And then just it's kind of maybe a few slides that just gets you up to speed on some of the big topics. I know like HVAC at the schools was one that I've heard in the past come up. We have an update for you. We've been following, as I started, as your recommendation, probably, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, that when the bids go out, I now get the email, and so that I'm tracking that as well. We're out to bid on this project, and I'm updating the spreadsheet regularly. And so I think that just by having that come in, being able to be logged, it's a constant update. So I think the committee's come a long way. And I think that now we're just rounding the bend to finish it up, so that we can distribute the best way and update per department.
Right. I think that that's what I'm looking for from the legislative chair, oversight committee chair, is that let's see something that you have in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone here would like to see that.
Yeah.
So I understand that you just had a meeting the other day, and you were looking over all this information, but thoughts and suggestions are fantastic, but show me the numbers. I'm going to go from Massachusetts to Missouri. I'm going to be the show me state. Show me what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I can see yellow. I can barely see what that is with my glasses on.
Yes.
So I'd like a full actual presentation, Mr. Costello, at some point, of your findings, of your numbers. I understand that means a little bit of work for Kristen among her other duties. But if you could get maybe a couple of members to also help pitch out. I know you're looking for restocking as well. As you said, I'll leave that back to the COPC. I think sometimes if you get up to balloon up to 20 people, that is not an efficient committee.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you have 7 right now. That sounds like a very manageable number to me personally.
It is. I just want to add, they haven't had a quorum the past couple of
Exactly. And then that is also my bigger concern, is when you get a larger committee, you don't have a quorum, can't vote on things, you can discuss them. Be present, as Mr. Weber is. He's going to end up having that tattooed across the front of his head, so we all see it every week or month. That is, if you've committed to a committee, try and be there majority of the time. As we know, future charter, if it ever gets approved. There's a minimum that you can miss, and it's not many. I guess my other question, Mr. Cohen, I know you're here. You're going to be potentially the liaison to Legislative Oversight Committee, but are you the liaison? I have not heard who the liaison is to the COPC. The Select Board has not reached out to me at all regarding that. Do you know who that is yet? Or is it still Mr. Golden? Okay, thank you very much. I'd appreciate that. We'd welcome you, but we'd also welcome back Mr. Golden. I never even saw it go through any of the Select Board meetings when they were reorganizing who represents what.
So I think just one more thing, if I could add, would be, so we've wrapped up the past, which now can update you on the future, on what we've got going on. And then I think the next part that Bill had talked about was capturing 2025 and staying on top of that.
Sure.
So we've got everything from the past, you know, and
what's the past go back to again? I'm sorry.
It's every open article I did.
Every
single one.
Fantastic. I love that. I did have a lot of hands go up at once. I saw the right side of the room first. I know, Catherine, you raised your hand, but it had all started down here. So I will try and get best to you. I saw Mr. Williams go up first. If people could raise their hand. There were a lot all at once. So Mr. Williams, the floor is yours for Mr. Costello.
Yeah, what I'd like to do is try to move this forward for you and give everybody a fair shot at doing the right thing with it. And I think you've done a tremendous job. And this is probably long overdue, but it's done. And I'd like to throw up a straw man. It seems to me that the most efficient way to do this might be to take each departmental group of money that's out there and send it back to the departments and let them say what they think that they should do with it. Then your committee could manage that and shepherd it. But meanwhile, you could be right on top of the recent town meetings coming up. I'm just trying to save you a lot of the nuts and bolts in an area that you might not be as familiar with, what department wants to do what with what money, whether they're done with this, whether they can send it back. And then at the end of all of that, when it goes back to the departments and they've had a chance to look at it, you'd probably have a heck of a lot less work to do.
No, thank you. I think you're right. I think the key would be to have, I mean, we already have buy-in by the department heads, but to have them stay on top of their articles, it should work perfect. So thank you very much.
Mr. Merrill, and then Ms. Holmes.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chair. Great presentation, Alan, thank you, and very informative. One of the concerns I've had, and when I was on FinCom way back when, probably back in 2008, 2009 timeframe, I had recommended that the town hire an internal auditor, and specifically in this regards. The town did have an internal auditor, and I think they still have an internal auditor. My concern is, why hasn't the town been utilizing that in terms of that scope to find issues like this? The other concern I have is we also have a town independent auditor. The town independent auditor should be recognizing that as deferred budget line items that aren't being utilized for each departmental budgets. So that's another area of concern, so maybe some follow-up with the finance director would probably be appropriate as well. But my area of concern there is, you know, we do have an internal auditor here in the town of Plymouth, and if that's not being utilized, then shame on us.
No, that's a very interesting point, and that gives me a thought for a future meeting to talk with them or talk with whoever is in charge of delegating and have them somehow tie in with us so that we're working together. Whether we give them the information or they let us know, but we should work hand in hand. Like I said earlier, we're talking about big dollars, complicated projects and issues that are going on in town, and I honestly can see how stuff might get forgotten or put by the wayside, and something else of more priority takes over, and it's difficult getting back to that. any kind of luck between an auditor, like you say, or the town's, protocol, and ourselves, hope to catch that in the future. Thank you.
Ms. Holmes?
Okay, thank you. So first and foremost, I want to thank you, Kristen, for all of your amazing effort. I mean, this committee, as Mr. Costello said, has been in existence well over 2 years. It's actually been, I think, 3 years. And we have, every month we get an update that we look for. And it's not until you decided to assist us in this effort and put forward this spreadsheet that we've actually potentially have something that is tangible that we might be able to see. And I haven't seen it yet, but I'm optimistic from what you've explained. So I really want to thank you for that. I know that that is probably well over the 20 hours that we allocated for you, but you're continuing to provide enormous amount of benefit to this committee, so well done. The other piece of this that I want to touch on is what I think you were just speaking to, Chris, is that you're highlighting articles that were approved in town meeting that were not acted on. That is, I think, one of the things that is concerning. Like, if we approved money and we approved budget, when you're talking about, for example, Memorial Hall, and we said, okay, we're going to put this money for bricks and, leakage and water and all that, we're going to make sure that that maintenance gets done. And it would be, when I look at the data, I'll dig into it, it'd be interesting to see how much of that didn't get done. It sounds like you're telling me that there are articles that didn't fully get processed or they weren't finished. So that's really concerning, and I think it's maybe an issue we need to talk to Mr. Brindisi about, because we need to understand how are they tracking these? What is their method of documentation and tracking, so that when they do change hands from one manager to another, that somebody understands what their budget is and where that money's supposed to go, and projects that they're supposed to be managing. And if you're saying that that's not happening in some cases, not all, but if that is the case, we need to understand what that is. It's not up to the COPC in a legislative oversight to drive their processes internally. That's up to the town to manage that. So, but I do think it's worthy of us, once we get the data and we come up with a solid, your team comes up with a solid plan on what the best practice is, how we're going to attack these things, that we get Mr. Brindisi in front of us to see what his thoughts are. And maybe that's private meetings that you have with him first, that you take it internally, so that we can come up with a game plan, because that's really concerning. I understand, we've talked about this when Ms. Aridi was the town manager years ago, that there was a lot of hoopla in our committee that when we did approve articles, they didn't necessarily get agreed on. Do you remember that from back in 6 years ago, Mr. Brewster? And so it sounds like maybe some of that's still happening. So it'd be good to kind of understand, when we sit on this board and we spend all the time going through all these committees and boards, looking at the articles and spending the time in our caucuses, it's really going to be interesting to see what happened and what didn't. And if we're spending that effort to go through and approve it, we are making an assumption as a town meeting member that information was processed accordingly, and that we trust now the town to do it. And if that's not happening, that's the biggest issue that I see with all this. So, and then lastly, as far as your committee, if you're having problems with people showing up and not being, you're not getting a quorum, maybe as the chair, maybe what you could do is just reach out to people and say, hey, are you still really interested in being in this committee? And then Matt, I know we've talked about this in some of our old meetings, we can certainly send out an invitation to town meeting members that just got elected to see if they're really interested in it. And maybe you don't take all of them. Maybe you interview them and decide which ones would be of the greatest value for your committee, and you get people in there that really will be able to be doers and not just sitting in a body. And I don't know if that's what you have, but we certainly need
Yeah,
people
hopefully I
present.
didn't misspeak. We have 7 or 8 members at this time. When we started,
You had
if you
15.
remember 3 years ago, that's 3 years ago, I think there was 16. members at that time. Now, we've lost some members, obviously, through promotion or attrition, I guess would be they've moved on to bigger committees or different
Right.
committees that don't let them, or I'm not sure they don't let them, but we make it hard for them to be on both committees. So to our credit, or to this committee's credit, we've lost 2 to select board members, which is pretty good. You know, we've lost some to health, unfortunately, health issues, family issues. So I would like to say, or make sure that I say that the committee that is there today are solid. They show up. But our numbers are just down due to people having life issues or whatever it happens to be. I agree with, I think the chair, 7, 9, maybe 11, but 16 at the beginning was too much. It was like an open casting call. Great people, but like I say, it's very difficult with 16 people, but if it settles on 9 and this committee decides that the number should be 9, and we stock it, we fill it, I think a lot of the learning curve has been taken care of, so it'll run good.
I'd like to I was not on this committee when this was established, the Legislative Oversight Committee. Does anyone here with institutional knowledge, was it just whoever wants to be on it, or was
No,
it set
it was-
to, we wanted 16 people on?
No, so what it was, it was a new concept. We were reinvigorating the Legislative Oversight Committee. And we had all these new members that had come on, and we'd also redistrict. So what we did is I sent out an email to all town meeting members introducing this committee to everybody and asked them if they were interested, that they could contact me. And the concept was that we were going to take all the articles and we were going to have this subcommittee, but then the chair of the committee would then, there would be literally subcommittee, they'd say, okay, we're going to attack 2000 to 2025, like you'll do this 5 years, you'll do these 5 years, and then they would be able to go in and dig in and grab that. So that was the idea of the concept between the
Gotcha.
large number.
And so at this point, I'd say we've more or less, with some tweaks here and there, hit the goal that this body, prior to me, had put together. However, it sounds like the chair of this subcommittee is looking for direction as to, okay, well, now I only have 7 members, but I think my feeling on that, and anyone here at the COPC can, tell me, is I think that you just keep, since there was no official, we need to have 15 members on this committee, I think you keep your 7 and continue the work. If it's something that this body feels needs to be designated and we need to vote on an actual number,
No.
we don't have an anticipated vote on the agenda this evening, I'd be more than happy to put that on there. But my gut feeling on this is you have your 7, they seem to be the dedicated 7 at the moment, and you're moving forward on what you've kind of accomplished. I would keep moving that ball forward as it stands and as it's constituted.
So Matt, I had just one more point.
Yep, go ahead.
before I-
Ms. Holmes, and then I have Mr. Williams, and I can't see. Oh, and Liz down at the other end, sorry, I'm doing the head bob. Go ahead, Ms. Holmes, I'm
So
sorry.
I just had 2 last points. And so now that we've attacked that 5-year period, and there is reference that there's articles that still need to be looked at that weren't, and it was later. You'd made that point, right? So. So everything within the 5 years or everything, period? Perfect. Okay, really good. Well, that's fine. And the last point was that I love the idea of a formal presentation coming that we could show not only this board, but also the residents at home who are literally paying for these articles. But I just really don't want the burden of that to continue to fall on our admin. So I'm hoping that someone within your committee has an ability to put together a deck that they could share it, because that's a lot of work, and I'm going to try to protect you as best I can. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Sure, Kristen?
I think you're going to be super, super happy with the results. I really do. There's been a lot of work that's been done. And there's a lot of work that's in the middle of happening. So I think that the percentage out of all of the projects out there is a very, 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 very small amount that it doesn't have action. So.
Go ahead. Ms. Wayne.
Yeah, I've got another straw man to suggest here that kind of brings these several ideas together. I think what needs to be done next also is to have you and your committee spend some time fixing the system. We've heard that the system has had some issues. It could be made better. And that's not something that has to be done instead of the idea of letting the departments figure out what to do with the money. In my opinion, it'd be far more valuable for your experienced committee and for Kristen, in terms of her interest, to dig into what you could do to improve that system while you've got a bit of hiatus before another 5 years of articles builds up. So you might consider that. That would also save a lot of time. Let the departments handle their own money. Let you guys figure out how to go forward in the future so it doesn't happen again. And then you could all get a lot of work done that's a bit more creative and a bit more satisfying, I think. So that's my second input.
I appreciate that, and to your point, and to Ms. Holmes' point, I have some unofficial ideas of my own. I think the vast majority of the articles that don't get started or don't get completed, mostly don't get started, is because the monies that we appropriate or approve at the annual town meeting, the fall town meeting, is not enough when the actual bids come back from a contractor or a vendor. And we have to, and I think it falls on us as committee, as town meeting members, we've got to figure out a mechanism to solve that problem. If we've allocated, and this is a case, and I know I won't bring up the library roof, but I'll bring up Station 1 Fire Headquarters. Back in 2010, town meeting appropriated $59,000 to fix the roof. Now, the bid came in higher than $59,000, but I've been told there was no mechanism for the town administration to make up that small difference and okay the work. So fast forward 10 years, the work was not done. Now we're on Channel 25 News because the firehouse roof caved in with firemen in the building. And now we had a crisis and we had to pay $550,000 to fix the same deficiency in the roof. That is probably what happened with Memorial Hall. It did happen with the library roof, and it's happened with a few other things. It just, we have to figure out as a government, maybe it's town meeting, maybe it's someone above us, maybe it's advisory and finance, someone has to step in and say, we allocated $100,000, the bid came back at 110, we've got to be able to get that $10,000 to move forward. We can't let it linger, because by the time we get back into a town meeting 6 months from now, there'll be half a dozen articles that take priority over it, and it gets forgotten. So I think maybe in a future meeting, we should talk about that. I think that would, number one, would solve a lot of problems going forward.
Is that?
And that's, I apologize, that's not the committee saying that, that's myself.
Go ahead.
Okay, Jennifer Harris.
Yep.
I just want to bring it back. First of all, I didn't let that ball drop with the library roof. I came back 3 times.
I apologize, I'm not blaming
to
anyone.
town meeting. But that's what happens, is a
Yeah.
department head who's involved. So I want to piggyback off of Chris and just say, I'm not even hearing Burke's Law. I mean, as a department head, we were repeatedly given Burke's Law, and we looked at what articles we still had open, what was left, and then decisions were made to either refund the money if you didn't need it because your project was complete. So that's one of my questions, and I do believe that the finance director needs to be involved in this discussion. If you're going to start talking about this in a bigger picture, please bring the finance director here to address some of that.
I think you're 100% right. We should bring all the interested parties, because if we could put together a fail-safe, we're all going to benefit. Why pay 10 times for the same project? So that's, again, my unofficial answer.
I have Ms. Holmes, Mr. Brewster, and then Mr. Weber.
Okay?
Yeah, I think what you're talking about, Alan, is really exactly what we mentioned before. It's process. It's how, it's the lack of process or the gaps in process, and that goes back to, questions first for Mr. Brindisi and probably maybe Ms. Barrett. I don't know, but we need to get them in here and ask them, how they're going to fix these gaps, because that's really, it's not a matter of, you brought up the fire station, which is a thorn in my side, and has been for so many years. There is no reason why it took 10 years to come back to town meeting. It could have come back in the spring, and the cost wouldn't have been that much more expensive, but that's a lack of process. There's no reason. And so there's plenty of time in any fall town meeting that we can extend it in order to bring back articles that we need to go through, that we need more money for. We plan it, and the first day that we're in town meeting, we say, if this runs over, we vote on that we'll pick it up, the following Monday. So time is not the problem. The problem is that we just need to make sure that there is a mechanism to track it.
I think Mr. Costello is on the same page as you there. Mr. Brewster and then Mr. Weber.
Okay. So I remember when we were formulating this plan to have this oversight committee, and part of the problem with our current form of government is that town meeting meets twice a year. And we approve $350 million, and we have no idea where that money goes and how it's spent and where those projects are. So I commend the admin and I commend the committee at doing what you've done. What I want this committee to fully support you going forward, because I think what we've started here is, hey, we see a flaw. We see that money gets allocated by town meeting. The project moves forward, needs more money, gets into problems like Stevens Field and other projects, and we have no input and no way of tracking it. So I think that this is a great start. I implore this committee to fully support your committee going forward. I think that we need to say, this is what we came up to with Town Hall and the Finance Committee and the Finance Director and the Town Manager. All of these entities need to be saying, look what we came up with. And this should send a message to Town Hall, we're paying attention. So thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the committee, appreciate your kind words. Thank you.
I have Mr. Weber and then back to Mr. Merrill.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions and then a couple of comments. Alan, have you involved the Chief Financial Officer and the Internal Auditor in your meetings to date?
The head of finance came in very early at our meetings and offered to help. And unfortunately, at that time, the town was taking a position where they were going to put together an oversight committee. They were going to put some protocols together. So we started to run independent of the town. We have not had the head of finance back since the early beginning, but it was mentioned at our last meeting that it was imperative that we have her back soon, because we're talking about the numbers that we are talking about. But I don't know who the internal auditor even is. I've never been exposed to the internal auditor in the town. But I think we have got to ask them to make our next meeting. Well, maybe you know, okay.
Kristen?
I just would like to say that all the meetings were attended by Sandy in procurement with me when we met every department head. And if there were questions on articles or money or how it should be spent, we met in her office, so she was able to pull all the articles and review the language at town meetings so that they were all being spent appropriately. If they were older ones, just to review. And so, like I said, I just want to say it again, I think you're going to be really happy with the results. I think it's going to be a lot more positive than what I'm hearing tonight, actually. I think when you see the results, you're going to see they've made a lot of progress, and they're still making a lot of progress. And it's a good thing. It's going to be good. So we're going to get our slides together for you, and we're going to update you, and you're going to be thinking everything is really in good shape. I really think that's what you're going to feel.
Yeah,
All right,
I
so-
appreciate all the hard work I know that you put in. Before I get to Mr. Merrill, I know you have your hand.
I'm not done, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Weber
Oh,
still
I'm
may
sorry,
be.
You're not done yet?
I had
Okay.
2 questions and 2 follow-ups.
Oh, I'm sorry, go.
So this is the first question. So this-
I
All
apologize.
right, no, not a problem.
Yeah, apparently I
So-
wasn't present. I'm
So
sorry.
you also said that you have 7 members now, and sometimes you don't make a quorum, so you're telling me you don't even have 4 members that show up?
We've had a couple meetings where we've had 4, actually one when we had 3, so we didn't have a quorum. But the unique thing with our committee is we don't vote on a great deal. We discuss, we add information to the spreadsheet, so we luck out, so.
So I can tell I'm getting pushed, so I'm okay with it. I know you.
No, that was not my intent.
I know you need to move along.
Take your time,
I get
take
it.
your time.
I get it. Well, Mr. Chairman, you're not. So what I'm saying is, I have to answer through the chair.
Okay,
So,
very good,
so
yeah.
the issue here is that there were some comments here tonight about department head turnover. And that's a very real suggestion, because when a department head leaves, retires, moves on, resigns, whatever, it does leave a void for the new person coming on. And as I said before, Plymouth is a very difficult town to manage. It's a huge issue. And there's so many issues in infrastructure maintenance in this town that it takes a new department head a couple of years, believe it or not, to get their arms around just what it is that they've got in front of them, let alone what their predecessor did or didn't do. So when these items linger, and I'll compliment Mr. Williams, and especially Mr. Williams' wife, along with another town meeting member who's now a finance committee member, Everett Malaguti. They were starting and continue to start to get into Burke's Law, which is all this is. That's all this is Burke's Law interpretation. And Lynn Barrett, the chief financial officer, Carrie Gillette is the internal auditor. Those 2 women, with some assistance, they're the ones that put together Burke's Law and give us the information to say, hey, town meeting members, here's what you appropriated, here's what's happened in the design stage, here's what's happened in the appropriation and procurement stage, and now we're waiting for the as-built and the design and the construction to go through. So this is why money may be languishing, but when you get a completed project, the completed project money returns to the appropriate departments where it was borrowed from, and we move forward. But the other issue, so the onboarding process on the town, when they bring in a new person, definitely needs some more legislative oversight. I've been doing this issue of town governance for a long time, and I see that people don't know when they come in how to effectively clean up from their predecessor and move forward with their own agenda items and their own initiatives, because they have big ideas and they give great interviews. And we say, hey, this is the person we need. Let's bring this person on. This person's got vision. This person's got personality. So bottom line is, the whole process comes down to us as town meeting being more attentive to the issues in Burke's Law. Burke's Law was created because of people like Alan and other people like us that have wanted to get problems solved. And at the time, let's put it into the town meeting packet, every year, people can review it, people can get on it. We need to get on it. So the last issue I have is Catherine mentioned the issues of, and also Jen Harris mentioned the issue that, okay, when an issue didn't happen, they would bring it back to a future town meeting. There's always the ability for a special town meeting. And that's what needs to happen. If you get a bid that comes in astronomically high, and keep in mind, all department heads now, when they put together their bid list, they build in a 20% contingency. 20% in anticipation of a bid maybe coming in more than they estimated. So when that stuff happens, there should be an instant call to the select board to schedule a special town meeting to say, I got a roof leaking, I need a roof, I need $30,000. Call a meeting, post it, get it done, appropriate the money. But it's just such a big community. It's very difficult to manage, and it's getting difficult to manage more every day. So my comments, thank you. And thank you for the work you're doing, but I believe what you're doing is reviewing Burke's Law, extracting information that's available to us, and you're just updating us on Burke's Law. I don't mean to minimize what you're doing.
No
but that's
argument.
what I think you're doing.
No.
So
I
thank
think-
you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for your comments. I wouldn't argue with that, but I think we're bringing a little bit more to it than just the financial side. We're bringing a little story as to what's happening. And as someone mentioned it earlier, the biggest positive is we're being taken seriously, and we've got the attention of some people that now know that there's 162 set of eyes watching where a certain article that we've approved, how it ends up. Good, bad, or indifferent, all we really want to know is what's going on. So now I think we have a vehicle to do that.
Mr. Weber, are you all set? Okay, I'm sorry, I did not mean to step on your toes, Mr. Weber. Mr. Merrill?
Just real quick, in regards to maybe the partnership aspect of FinCom, I think, between the timing of our fall and spring town meeting and maybe diverting to having a special town meeting is perhaps increasing our FinCom reserve fund for the future. That way, if we do have some of those miscellaneous costs that do come up a little bit higher in the bidding process, say if it's, 20,000 or 30,000, whatever that material number may be, that gives us the wiggle room, or FinCom perhaps the wiggle room, to allocate those emergency funds right to that designated budgeted item that we voted on.
That's a great suggestion, and not to put you on the spot, but I've been told about that in the past, but someone can correct me, I've never seen it implemented. What is the ceiling? Does the FinCom have $150,000 that they can step in and supplement a bid?
And they have used it for...
175?
Yeah, they
Okay.
have used it for like snow and
Well,
ice.
that's a starting point.
Yeah.
And I defer to you. Does it get used often? Has it been used, to your knowledge? I've never seen it myself personally, but that doesn't mean anything.
When I was on FinCom, we've probably used it maybe a handful of times.
Because that would be an important stopgap right away. I mean,
Right.
that would solve,
Yeah.
it certainly would have solved the fire station roof 10 years ago, or 15 years ago. So if we're not using it, and it's there, we should use it more, or learn about it at least, and if it works, we should use it.
Right, and if FinCom can't use it, maybe we allocate, maybe the town designates a different reserve fund, and it comes to maybe precinct chairs, and then we can allocate it out.
Yeah, that would probably be a charter thing, but I understand your concept, though.
Yeah.
Well, this is an aside, and not to make the meeting any longer, but as a charter review committee member, I try to implement that we could have a system amongst town meeting members that if a bid was, like, say, no more than 10% over, we could, as precinct chairs, as this body, could vote that additional up to 10% without going to a special town meeting. I was told that had a lot of legal ramifications, it probably wouldn't work, but I think amongst us, we should talk about it, because we should have either the FinCom working, or we should put something in place that gets us to $50,000 or $30,000 to finish a project, or to get a project started, so it doesn't fall through the cracks. And I know it's aggressive, but we should, as a body, think about that.
I think I hear all of those pieces of the concern, but I think I don't want this committee, you've done a big chunk of work, and you came in here this evening looking for several different questions I heard during your presentation or your update, but I don't want to get bogged down by that one piece. I think you keep continuing your focus as you see.
Fair enough.
You did have a number of comments that were directed towards the COPC as to direction, size, et cetera. Do you feel like you got most of the, I think I heard a lot of answers here for you on every one of your points. Is there anything
Well, I
you
guess
feel
the
went
one
unanswered?
definitive thing is, now that we have a database pretty much established, what does Committee of Precinct Chairs as a whole want to do? Do
Well,
they
I
want
think
to
we
make
want to
sure
see
that
it first.
the residents see it? Do they want it to be on the website? Do they want to,
I think you need to
A
present
monthly
it before.
update?
No, I think you need to present it before this committee. I've asked for that several times.
okay,
I'd like to know when we can expect to see this Excel file. I'd like to know when you can actually give us a full presentation and not just an update verbiage. I think you keep saying the numbers. I haven't even heard of an approximate estimate from you this evening. So I think what I'd really like to see is a real presentation to this committee.
that's fair.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any other questions or comments? Mr. Weber?
But is that beyond the committee's capability to put together a PowerPoint presentation with, I think somebody else should do that for them.
That's fine. I mean, I know I do a lot of work, you do a lot of work on your own when we present before even our town meeting members. There's 7 people on that committee. Kristen it sounds like, has done the majority of the work and has an Excel sheet, which I would imagine has a dollar column. I would like to think one of 7 people could put that together into a slide deck.
Okay. If we can see a slide deck that we can see without small numbers, that would be great.
Well, yes,
That would be
exactly.
great.
And I'd like it emailed to us beforehand so we
Sure.
can digest it.
Great.
And then the slide deck, I know, even with these, I have a hard time seeing them. But I really feel that at this point, the direction is not seeking direction from the COPC as to what do you want us to do with these numbers. I think the direction is, we'll show the COPC the work. It's time to put the pencil down and show work. Ms. Holmes?
I just have one comment on that. I think that's excellent guidance. The other thing that I would say is that the whole point of it being a subcommittee on the COPC is that this information that that you've gotten from the admin and the other people that have been working to provide for you, you now need to do the analysis on that data, and as a committee, determine what does that mean? You need to do the interpretation of it. Does it mean that, 89% of all of the articles that we've passed over the last 5 years are completed? Of that, 20% of them were under budget? You need to do and that's what the committee should be doing. And what we don't want, and you said this from day one, is what we don't want is for the town and the town management to be providing us the story. The committee needs to be providing the story, and that's the oversight that is so critical that I'm hoping that you'll be able to provide. Thank you.
Nope.
No,
I think it's
lots
good.
of work, great update, Alan. I mean, I hope it didn't come across as harsh, but I think that is just the logical next step.
No, our committee has done a great job, and
Yep.
we knew we had an uphill battle. We got some terrific support.
Yep.
Quite honestly, we wouldn't be anywhere near completing 157 without the support.
It's a lot.
But we have been working as a committee, so I don't think anyone's too nervous about doing a presentation. I think you'll be impressed by it. And like I said, some of it you'll be happy about, some of it you're not going to be so happy about. But that's why we did it.
Right, no, and I appreciate that. Like I said, I think, you've got the data. We can put the pencil down on that. Let's compile that data and get it into something that we can see, and I don't know how long that will take. So if you could give me an idea of, when you think you might be able to have something, I know it's not going to be tomorrow, but you know what I mean? Like, oh, this is going to take, yeah, you have till Monday. This is going to take, a week. This is going to take 3 weeks, whatever it is, before we can have this analyzed a little bit, some sort of actionable items or plans going forward. Like, yeah, I'd really just like to see the schedule.
Well, I'd like to suggest that we're going to have some difficulty now with town meeting coming up, but.
Of course.
If you could carve out a spot, an agenda item in your November meeting,
November.
that's a little bit of a quiet time, and we'll have a presentation. I don't think there's any problem with doing that,
You got it.
if that works for you.
That definitely works for me. I look forward to that on the 20th, the Thursday before Thanksgiving.
I mean, if the, what's that? I didn't hear that.
That's the Thursday before Thanksgiving week, so I look forward to that.
Well, we certainly can do it in October, but it's going to run up against town meeting.
No, and
Yeah.
September, no, I completely agree with you. I'm just saying that I'm locking you in November 20th, so.
We'll be here.
Maybe we can all see a Christmas bonus with all this money you're going to save the town, right? So, all right,
I
thank
did
you.
allude to one number, and it's $1 million plus, and that's with just a fraction of them, so.
There you go.
You're gonna like it.
I
You're gonna
do-
like
I
it.
do.
As a resident and a taxpayer, you're gonna like it.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. That was a healthy discussion. So moving on, we're going to go to Mr. LaFrari and his update for his subcommittee, the Town of Plymouth Town Meeting Handbook. I've spoken with a few people over the last couple days, today as well, and I want to frame this conversation with this. We've all had this handbook. I think right off the bat, formatting issues and the way that it prints out, I understand that. We've had some issues between like the Word document and the PDF. That we can iron out. So I think we can take that all. I know I heard that from more than 20 people. So I'd like to just take that off the table. That being said, the way that I'd like to see this work is that Mr. LaFrari is going to take, and Kristen will be taking notes. They're going to be taking your comments as far as content, et cetera, as advisory comments, and then they're going to bring them to their committee. And then speaking with Mr. LaFrari, I think he's in agreement. Then we let the committee work those in or not work those in. And then once that happens, then they'll come back with what they're considering their final product. And when they come back with that final product, they can show you what was added in from what you saw to what is in front of you to approve. And we can go through it, and this is painful, but it sounds almost similar to like going through the charter. Like, why'd you change this? Why did you not change this? And they can defend their decisions. And then this committee can either approve it or not approve it. Because this has been going on as well a very long time. There's been a lot of work put into this. Mr. LaFrari, I'll let you take the floor here in a second, but just so we know, the town meeting handbook is just a beginning guide. It's not something that's going to have every single thing that you can actually, honestly, find on the website. This is to give a tool to get like that primer, that first, call it like the elementary school, grade school, here's kind of like the primer of how things go. It is not going to have every single thing. And we probably won't ever, if we did that, this is going to be too wieldy. I think it's going to be intimidating to anyone that wants to become a town meeting member. And I think that if I saw a 35-page user manual or book come out from the town, unless it has to do with town meeting, I'm probably not going to look through it for the information. So it's meant to be lean and mean and kind of like, here's where you go for this, here's where you go for that. That being said, I'm going to turn this over to Mr. LaFrari. I will help you, guide you through the meeting, but I will allow him to interject and speak when there's questions asked. I'm not going to direct. But I think the easiest way to do this is to kind of, and some of you may not have any comments. Some of you may have quite a few. And if they become very long, I think it's okay, as Mr. Weber did for me, one of his town meeting precinct members, he sent along to me kind of like a bullet point list, to which I shared with Mr. LaFrari, so he can just bring that to to his subcommittee. So if you have a lot of things, I think that's probably the best and easiest way. But going forward, I was just going to open it up to the floor. So I know earlier when we were doing minutes, Mr. Williams, you had a question, or okay?
No, I'm wondering if we could just send these to Mr. LaFrari, given the time and the potential for another hour of doing this. And, you know, I'm not sure that it would profit by a lot of people looking at everybody else's suggestions if we could just send it to him and go on with it at that. I mean, these are just suggestions, and he can decide what to do. I looked at it. I thought it was a great summary. I'm not going to worry about the things that I was worried about earlier because you took them off the table. But this, I think, has a process for doing that doesn't need to involve 18 people.
I hear that. Is there anything that anyone finds of a major concern right now that they'd like to bring before us? Otherwise, I'm more than happy to do as Mr. Weber did, send the comments to either myself or Kristen, and we'll get them along to Mr. LaFrari to bring before his subcommittee. First, do you have your kind of follow-up meeting scheduled for, not yet, until you see what the work was? Okay. Is there anyone that would like to add anything this evening? I'm still going to entertain a little bit of discussion here. Yeah. Mr. LaFrari, before we take these couple of hands, is there anything that you'd like to speak to regarding this product that's before us at the moment?
Well, I did want to, for the new town meeting members, I just wanted to give a little history on this subcommittee. 2 years ago this month, August 2nd to be exact, Catherine Holmes, then the chair of the COPC, announced the need for the formation of a subcommittee to revise the town meeting handbook. The handbook was last formally approved by COPC in 2012, with some limited revisions made in 2017. Recognizing the need for updated procedures and accurate content, the subcommittee began its work. The journey has not been without challenges. The group experienced turnover, losing 2 members, and its not current, but its past administrator due to unforeseen circumstances. Despite these setbacks, the subcommittee regrouped and continued its work with persistence and dedication. Recently, our new COPC coordinator, Kristen Ford, distributed the updated draft of the handbook to all precinct chairs for review. Prior to this, the document was reviewed by the town clerk, the moderator, assistant moderator, to ensure procedural accuracy. It's important to note that while the content has been updated for accuracy and procedural consistency, the language mechanics, such as grammar and style, were not comprehensively revised. We've received thoughtful feedback from various individuals, including Jean Blanchard and Larry Pizer. All comments, as Mr. Chair has mentioned, will be carefully reviewed and necessary revisions will be incorporated. Our goal is to finalize the updated handbook and redistribute by September 15. That's all I have to say.
Okay, I did see a few hands go up, so I'm going to, is anyone down here, Mr. Weber? Okay.
So
Start down here, go ahead.
thank you. Precinct 7 reviewed the handbook for its last meeting and overwhelmingly thought that it was very helpful. very concise. What we particularly liked were the terminology at the very beginning, the vocabulary. We really also appreciated the examples of actions that are taken at town meeting and how one responds to those, like what one can expect when at town meeting. And I also really appreciated the links to all of the resources. And you've just answered my question, which was our precinct members wanted to know when they were going to get their own copy of it. So hopefully September 15th, though that sounds very ambitious, and I appreciate your work.
I also, I've heard from a few people that, when can I get my hard copy? We don't have a budget for hard copies for all of our members. This would be something as the prior handbook was. It lives on our website where the old version currently lives. That would be up to town meeting or someone to put that into the budget, so. Okay. Anyone else? Any follow-up? You good? Everybody good? Mr. Weber, and then Mr. Delafield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did make copies available to all my delegates in Precinct 3. And I also made copies at Precinct 3 of a report that I'm hoping the chair, at some point, since Memorial Hall has been discussed 3 or 4 times tonight, not by me, even though I could talk about it for a couple of hours. Here is a report, includes foldouts, includes blueprints, a very comprehensive report. This was a report on Memorial Hall given to Mr. William Coyle on 22 of November 2024. So it's very current. It gives all the status of everything you would want to know about Memorial Hall, and I think this should be on the town's website. I did make the 9 copies for my precinct members. I know we don't have a budget for Mr. Tavares to pass it out to 18 people, but hopefully people can take this and digest it. I want to talk about the handbook, so.
Oh, okay.
I'm
You
sorry,
lost
yeah,
me for
I
a
just-
second there.
Well, you know what, when you get the mic.
I was trying to be present. I heard you talking about Memorial Hall, but I wasn't sure where you were coming from.
When you get the mic, you use it. So I also wanted to volunteer collections to take up, our chair people that get involved in these subcommittees, congratulations. A lot of times, you guys do yeoman's work here. And I want to take up a collection. I'll start it right now for Alan Costello to get a new iPad. His iPad looks like the surface of the moon right now with the cracks across its face. This thing has been through the war. But anyway, having said that, that shows dedication, time and effort expended. But I'm going to pass out, and you can take these, and I'm done commenting on it because I hear everybody is watching the clock. Pass these around. Take one and pass it around. But these are the comments that I've shared with the chair. The chair has shared with the committee chair, and again, great work comment on what your committee has done. There's always somebody that wants to chime in and give suggestions. These suggestions came from former town clerk Larry Pizer. They're very well written. They give you ideas and suggestions that are based in fact and based on law, so we can't ignore those. So I just hope that everybody gets a chance to read those prior to a future meeting, and people can take those suggestions and give them the attention that they deserve.
They may even jog your thoughts onto something you may not have thought of in the handbook, right? So thank you, Mr. Weber.
So thank you.
I appreciate you making in color too. That was fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's got what's the Precinct 3 budget? No, thank you, Mr. Weber. I really appreciate that. And again, feel free to, Mr. Weber did say that they were coming to me. I did receive them. And Kristen, I sent it on to Kristen and to Carmen. If you folks have any other comments, please feel free to do so, or send them to Carmen directly and copy Kristen. I do appreciate it. Any other comments, at least regarding, Mr.
Just
Delafield,
very
sorry.
quickly with that last point, let's say that if you can get your comments in within a week or two at the most, I think a schedule is always good.
I would agree with that. Looking at the upcoming calendar and with your subcommittee's self-imposed deadline of the 15th, I would definitely think that by at least September 2nd, the Tuesday after Labor Day, getting those comments to Mr. LaFerrier is fair. Okay. Any other comments regarding the handbook? Not seeing any. I'm going to move on to any old and new business, please. If anyone has anything, did you want to go speak any more about that Memorial Hall? I'm doing old and new business right now, so I would consider, yep, okay.
If you could, Mr. Chair, if you could, I'll be happy to pass this along to you.
Sure.
If you hadn't seen this yet.
No?
Hopefully you can get this posted on the town's website.
Okay.
And given it to precinct chairs.
Sure.
Because this is an issue coming up at town meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to know the history of the building and its current status, and it's good information to read through.
Sure,
Thank
and
Thank you.
I'm not sure that everyone here has seen this either, so I will make sure I can get, if you're fine with it, I'll scan it electronically and at least in the immediate action, get this to everyone here as well. Which,
Okay.
you know what I mean, in the immediate, and then we'll work on that second piece that you were talking about getting it out there.
I don't think anybody's seen it because it took a Freedom of Information request, and you know the process that is
Yes.
to get that.
I have written many of those in a former life. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. Any other old or new business? Ms. Holmes?
Just quickly, I wanted to check in and remind everybody to get their caucuses scheduled.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're going to do that. And then it might even be right on this agenda. Are we doing 2 meetings a month for September?
Yeah, so that is the next piece, that bullet point on our agenda, draft warrant articles review schedule. That's what I'm going to talk about. I just wanted to see if anyone had any other new business. Or old business.
How dare I? How dare I? I'm so
No,
sorry.
you're fine. You're fine. She said, yeah, once a chair, always a chair. Did I see a hand from you, Mr. Peck, or no?
No, what I was going to say is the building committee, and I think the selectmen saw the presentation, the very good presentation by the architect, and a very comprehensive cost estimate was provided at the end of May. And so that's part of the background that the town leadership has kind of seen. I think, as I understand it, we're going to town meeting for just a more detailed CPC-funded study. But I am hoping that we can include a study of the alternates for fixing up Memorial Hall, but also a comparable, equal-sized, brand-new building. I mean, what I'm hearing from my committees and also citizens is fixing up Memorial Hall is a wonderful idea, but let's give us an alternate proposal to provide the same service perhaps in a brand-new building. So Memorial Hall is an important thing we'll be thinking about in the weeks coming up to town meeting, but also at town meeting. So that's all, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Costello?
Yeah, just now because it's presented itself, ask Mr. Weber or Mr. Peck, what is the difference between the assessment that just got handed into you versus the one we're going to be asked to pay for in November or October? And what are the strong suits of each? Are they going to be identical? Do we have something from '24 that doesn't need to be spent $90,000 to update? Does anyone have an answer to that?
I won't speak for CPC and their study. The design, the programming, and the pricing that we have seen identified, some part is historical of the building, and a lot is programmatic, expansion and whatever. So what is being presented, as I understand it, to CPC is a more detailed study of the historic aspects, what is historic and what qualifies for potential historic CPC funding and what does not. So that's actually one of the aspects I personally, and I think my building committee and my precinct will also be asking the same question about exactly what is the potential content that we're looking for in that report.
Bless you. All right, thank you. No, I just, because it's so current, why aren't we using that one? But, all right, I'll wait to hear what the committee comes up with. Thank you very much.
Anyone else before I go into the draft warrant articles review? Bullet point? No? Okay. So that being said, you've all received, probably from multiple different sources, a draft of the fall annual town meeting warrant. Advisory and finance are starting to go through articles. Select board is hearing articles. Obviously, we like to hear articles. A couple of points I'd like to make. First, due to holidays and just scheduling conflicts because it's a very busy time of year with all these other committees, you'll note that our future meeting dates, which was at the end of the agenda, we have our normally scheduled meeting Thursday, September 18th. The next time that we could get the Great Hall and coordinate that was Monday, September 29th, because typically we do the first Monday. It's unfortunately, or fortunately, Labor Day. So that ended up having to be the 29th. We're immediately going to have a meeting right on the heels of that for Thursday, October 2nd. We also I will give credit, the Advisory and Finance Committee and the COPC worked well together to coordinate dates to accommodate each other, and there's a give and take there. So Thursday, October 2nd will also be about town meeting articles, and then our normally scheduled Thursday meeting, October 16th, which is right before, 2 days before the town meeting, will be kind of that cleanup town meeting article review meeting. That being said, now the work is coming to you all as well, is to schedule your caucus meetings, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 15, whatever it is you decide you need. You can see when we have our meetings, it is a compressed schedule. Presenters for these articles are also going to be taking these meetings into consideration along with your caucuses. I think, along with myself, and I know several other chairs, presenters of these articles and petitioners of these articles are starting to reach out. When is your caucus? It's going to be here faster than you know it. I know some precincts have already started to schedule their caucuses. Please get your caucuses at least scheduled. You can always update your agenda, 48 hours in advance, but at least get it scheduled, get it on the books, and start letting these people know when they can maybe come in to speak with you. That being said, when you schedule your caucus, Kristen does a great job of trying to scan through and pick them out, because a lot of times department heads and stuff and other petitioners go straight to Kristen because she's either in the building of when is this caucus, when is that caucus. So if you could also let her know when you've scheduled it for, and then also let her know if it's an in-person, hybrid, or Zoom only. And then if that's the case, if it's any of those that are involving a link, please, if you could share that with Kristen. We've done that in the past, but I know we have a lot of new members here, so just so that they know. Okay, obviously we will talk about the Memorial Hall article. So I don't need suggestions on that. I usually work with the vice chair and with Kristen to schedule different presenters to come in, and we're not going to run through Article 1 through whatever in sequential order, because it also depends on the presenter's availability, as we all know. But if there are articles in particular that anyone in this committee feels needs more attention than others, or you feel is more important to your precinct than another, please let me know if you'd like to see a presentation on it. I am going to do my best to get through all of these articles, but there could be something that I deem we don't need to talk about, but yet you feel strongly about. And I'm not going to know that unless you let me know. I think we did a great job of going through every single article for the spring, and there were a lot of them, especially with the special on top of it. But if there's anything, I ask you to bring it to my attention. Or if there's just a sub-item that you want more clarification on, bring it to my attention. For new members here, and I know a lot of you you may be a new member here, but you've been in the game a long time, paying attention to the Advisory and Finance Committee meetings is critical this time of year, and then I would ask you to share that along with your town meeting members. Ms. Holmes?
Just one quick comment. We do have a lot of new chairs, and I can't remember who came to us and asked us this, just to remind everybody. There's 18 precincts here, so any opportunity you have to consolidate your precincts with other precincts, it takes a lot of burden off the speakers that are coming before us to talk about articles when you're scheduling your caucuses.
I will leave that up to precinct chairs to decide that, but that has come up by a few presenters in the past, and it's also come up. I've heard it discussed, I think the town clerk and maybe even the select board or the director of finance, but we have heard that in the past. So take that under advisement. It's up to you if you decide to do that. Any other comments, questions regarding this? Yeah, Mr. Merrill.
Is it appropriate to highlight something that we'd like to focus on tonight for a particular article for fall town meeting?
Sure, I'll take that now.
So one thing that I'd like to bring up is for capital recommendations, Article 4, focus on the runway 624 reconstruction. Maybe it'd be important to have the airport manager come in just to focus in on that, because there's a lot of miscommunication out there that this is in regards to the extension of the airport. It is not the extension of the airport. This is for critical improvements for the existing runway that's already there.
Yeah, and they're one of the groups that has actually reached out to me to come in, so I appreciate that. So that all tracks you and what's going on there. Absolutely. Does anyone have anything this evening that they immediately know that we'd like to focus on?
Article 6, Land Bank.
Okay. Yeah, and I do know that the sand mining article petitioners have reached out for length of time of a presentation and when they can come in.
Mr. Chair, what was Article 6 you mentioned?
Article 6 is the establishment of a land acquisition special revenue account.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, Ms. Adelman. Yeah,
Has the land bank been approved at the State House?
not that I know of.
So is this land bank account kind of premature?
It's different. I have not dived into it. I just have the draft warrant in front of me. I don't have any backup documentation to it.
They want an approval to be able to go to the state and get it established.
It looks like it's adding to it from my very brief 10-second look here.
Matt, how about the Article 11, Historical Commission? Can we have someone from the town speak to that?
I'll get someone from the town manager's office for that.
Yeah, there's also Article 12, the Historic Preservation Bylaw. I assume that, no, they're different. One is the Historic District.
Sure. So basically
Regional
those are the highlights
economic.
now, but I will take anything from anyone else. I mean, we will do our best to go through all of the articles that we can, for sure.
26 also, Matt. The citizens petition, the Plymouth Regional Economic Development Foundation Board of Directors.
I'll see if, it looks like it's the same petitioner of 25, and I know the petitioners of 25 have reached out, so maybe we can get them in one shot one evening. Okay. At this point, unless there's any other old or new business?
Motion to close?
No.
No, you want
We have
public
public
speak?
comment.
Public comment.
And I would not sit in this room with the audience that's in front of me and not offer public comment, whether they want a public comment or not. Any public comment? I see none online. Yes, go ahead, please come up, state your name for us, please, just for the record.
There we go. Joel Coffin, I'm actually Vice Chair of Precinct 10. And I'm glad to hear that the warrant Article 4 came up, because that's what I wanted to talk about. So I'll just go quickly here, because I know it's late. So I'll kind of move ahead a little bit. For the past 18 months, there's been a group of citizens that have engaged with town and airport officials regarding the proposed expansion, for which very little has actually been discussed at the CAC meetings. For anybody who actually attends, there's been very little discussion about the expansion during those meetings. And in the event you may not be aware, what affects the size of the planes that can land at the airport is the length, width, and thickness of the runways. And that's critical for what's in Article 4 and understanding the intent there. The airport wants to extend the length of the runways, obviously, and that would allow for more of the largest jets that currently land to be able to land at that airport. And if you've ever been in West Plymouth when a Falcon 2000 goes over your head, you won't want more of them going over your property. They advised that, and it's what happened in the warrant, that they were switching the phases of their expansion effort, right? Phase 1 was originally the lengthening. Phase 2 was the repair of runway 624. The runway, let's see if I get this right. So they want to switch those. So the question that I think you should ask the officials, and we would like to see it in writing, which they actually said they wouldn't provide last week. They just said, trust us at the airport commission meeting, is that by approving that phase, does it provide a requirement to do phase 2? And if you don't do phase 2, is the town on the hook for paying back the FAA for their portion of contributions to the runway resurfacing? So that's a really important question that I think this committee needs to understand for transparency purposes. So let's see. And they just said, trust me. That was a kind of a point of contention for the citizens, by the way. And Du Bois and King also gave an update on obtaining the permit for the runway expansion. They admitted that they would not know the runway thickness until after town meeting's over. So the runway thickness is a critical factor for how the size of planes that can land there as well, or the capacity of planes that currently land there. So that's another important factor. And the citizens group, I can assure you, is not happy about that potential, thickening of the runway, and therefore the opportunity to bring in more planes. So that's the heavy concern. I will add one more item, and that was the Citizens Advisory Committee has been trying to work with them about noise complaint data. And the goal was to identify the worst noise offenders and find solutions to improve the quality of life for all residents. Instead, the commission said that this information is no one's business. They also insisted the noise complaints would only be recorded if residents left their name and address, which is a concern. Whether right or wrong, some feel targeted, they don't like to do that. it gives the appearance that, the people are being misled or withheld critical information, and that concerns from the citizens group are ignored. So I think all that is important considerations when you bring in people to talk about that article. You might want to bring in the citizens group to have a kind of full understanding of the topic. And with that, I'll leave you guys to whoever else wants to provide a comment.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Any other public comment? Not seeing any. Mr. Brewster.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, seconded by Catherine. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you all. We'll see you twice next month.